Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Marco, currently a second year med student. So my hair is really messy, as you can probably tell. So I'm gonna need to put a cap again. Anyway, so I haven't posted a video in quite some time, maybe 2 months. And the main reason really is just second sem is a lot busier than first sem. So basically in this really short video, as a filler of some sort, I'm going to be talking about how I organize my Anki app on MacBook, Apple, any device, because honestly all my devices are connected with Anki. So yeah, this is just how I organize everything. This is basically my Anki. I have 3 decks with a lot more sub decks underneath each one. So I'll go through probably supplementary decks first and then YL6 decks after, because supplementary is just something I don't use most of the time. So if we click the plus, you'll notice that I have a lot of supplementary decks. I have Anki. I believe this is already V11, so it's pretty updated. Konana salt decks. I haven't used this one yet because I haven't seen an application for it. Dope decks I heard are good, especially for Australian Medical Council exams. Haven't used it yet. Sketchy internal medicine, sketchy micro, sketchy farm. Really good Anki cards for testing yourself when you watch sketchy videos. So the reason why I say that I don't use this as much, or why I label them as supplementary decks, is because I'm trying to lessen the time that I use to make my own cards. If you watch an old study routine video, I take a lot of time making my own cards, and I barely have enough time to study it within the same day, because ideally you study it within the same day. So what I do is I just go through the lecture really fast, pick up on some key points that I think are important. I go through each deck, which I'll show you guys later how it's broken down, and then I find relevant cards that would apply to us, and then I just fill in the gaps. Because usually their context, especially in the US, which diseases would be more common, would be different, or which species, for example, of bacteria would be different. So there are really just tiny nuances to the cards, but in general, they apply to all of it. So what I do is I just select cards and then I transfer it to my YL6 deck. Before I get into the YL6 main deck that I use, I have YL6 finished modules. It is what it says. It has a lot of my decks from previous modules that I already finished. So we have M1, M2, M3, M4, M5. I don't have an M6 deck because that one was for research. It wasn't really an Anki-able topic, really. Well, I mean, you could, but I just chose not to. Usually, what I do when I make a deck for a module is I make it M7 and then the whole name, just for organization purposes. So for each module, we have a bunch of exams. I would separate one deck per exam. So here's an example. I'll just expand GI pathology and nutrition. Here you can see that I broke it down into 5 decks. 1 GITN. GITN is basically GI tract and nutrition. It's just my shorthand version of it. Long exam 1, 2, and 3, and then I also have Pharma, GITN, long exam 1, 2. Now I do this because the exams for more pathology, clinical medicine, surgery related topics are separated from pharmacology. So I just separated pharmacology from those, just so I can focus on whatever exam I'm gonna study for. Usually it's taken within the same day, 30-minute intervals usually. So yeah, it's pretty convenient to focus my studying on, for example, GITN long exam 1 first, and then after I take the exam, finish early, I'll breeze through pharma. Now we can move on to the main deck, and this is YL6, which is the current module that I'm taking right now. So right now we're taking renal, genitourinary, and gynecology. Renal, genitourinary, and gynecology pathologies. So if we open this, same thing, I broke it down into pharma. So we have only one pharma long exam, so you would notice it's just one exam deck. And then we have one exam per sub-module. Recently, in this specific module, the big module of renal, GU, and gyne, we have one exam for renal, one exam for male GU, one exam for female GU, and then an exam for gynecology. So I also have a lab exam. For ASMPH specifically, I think the way they structure the lab exam is every 2 modules usually. So M7 and M8 lab exam basically means the coverage is M7, GI, and then M8, which is renal, GU, and gyne. So let's open up the current one that I'm studying right now. The way I do it nowadays, I used to just put everything in this single deck, but I noticed that I started confusing the cards into each other because most YouTubers would suggest that you put everything in a deck so you would learn it more. But for me, the more effective one was actually a suggestion from my TG mate, and that is to separate it per topic. So I went one step ahead and I separated it per subject and then per topic. Because the way ASMPH structures its curriculum is, for example, if I'm taking the renal submodule right now, within the renal submodule, we get clinical medicine topics, we get surgery topics, pathology topics, microbiology, etc., etc. So it's more of just a module, submodule, subject, and then topic. That's how I organize my deck. So if I open this up, you would notice that the first thing you will see is clinical medicine. I only have clinical medicine right now because most of our topics right now are just clinical medicine. So if I open this up, and then it opens up to every single topic that we have to cover for the exam on Monday. So we have abnormal uterine bleeding, amenorrhea, benign diseases, malignant diseases, yeah. And then the way I would study it is I have a separate Notion page of all the topics listed, and then I have a date on when I last studied it. So for example, if I studied abnormal uterine bleeding 5 days ago and I studied amenorrhea 3 days ago, I would answer abnormal uterine bleeding first. I'd focus my time there because that's the very last, the furthest topic that I have studied from the day before I even study amenorrhea. I think it just works better that way. In my case, I think it works better that way. Yeah, so that's how I organize the deck. Now, I'll just close them. I'll show you guys how I organize my tags. I'm not sure if it's gonna be seen. I'll just edit it out. So here are all of the tags on the left side. I'll just zoom in, hopefully clear pa rin. Yeah, these first few tags, the one with the number signs, the hashtags, those are all from the Anki deck. I would go into it, but then basically, yeah, for step 1, you have all of these resources. Step 2, all of those organizations. These are all from Konana decks. Dope is from the Dope deck, Konana, and then this is mine, WILE6. I use an add-on called Hierarchical Tags. I really do highly suggest you download it so you can use it, and I'll put up here the general format of how I organize my tags. It's basically year level, subject, module, and then topic. It's very different from how I organize the decks because the subjects pretty much cut across all modules as compared to the modules that just pass up each subject. Sometimes there are some modules that don't even have a microbio aspect to it yet. So tags are just really mainly to organize it per subject naman. So per deck is just for exams. This one is just per subject naman. So I'll open up the WILE6. You'll notice that, don't mind the book part. I tried reading the book. Di kinaya ng schedule. So I have clinical medicine, family medicine, legal medicine, microbiome, parasitology, pathology, pharmacology, etc. And then each of them would be broken down into the modules. So I have BP1, BP2, cardiovascular, GI, GU, gyne, PNP2, renal. And then each subject with a module underneath would have its own topic then. So basic life support, edema, etc., etc. And the reason why I chose this way to organize my tags is because WILE6 second year med students have a comprehensive exam at the end of the semester. So last time we had a comprehensive exam for pathology, I believe micropara, and then pharmacology. Those four. And the way I study for those beyond just reading notes again is I would make filtered decks or custom decks that would only have pathology, that would only have micropara, and that would only have pharmacology. So yeah, magiging mas focus na siya instead of per module, because pretty much all of the modules that we took the first sem i-cover no exam. So instead of dividing it per module, instead I just cut across and just studied the whole subject. I wonder how many cards I have. I have made a total of 12,783 cards. Wow, pretty dope. Okay, so that pretty much ends this video. Hopefully it's a really short video lang. If you guys have any questions about how I organize my Anki, how I use it, you can always comment it down below. Short filler type video. Hopefully you guys like this. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Peace.